Hey, what's up? My name's Paul. This is a channel where I mostly talk about video games, but I also talk about tech and just things I find cool. My goal is to go to 100 video game stores and document that process. Along the way, I collect video games, so I've been just grabbing video games that I think are cool. But on the other side of things, I'm trying to collect a complete N64 set. I don't think we're going to get to the end of that on this particular video, but I just wanted to let you know what this video is all about. So let's get into it. And let's slide around in Indiana. Sometimes you wake up and you find yourself in the middle of Fortville, Indiana. My in-laws live in Indiana, so I've gone to most of the stores in the Indianapolis area, but I have not been to this one. I most certainly would have remembered this Mario with Attitude, which they told me later was a custom job. This video game store is about the size of 1.5 or maybe even 2 GameStops. It's a very local spot, but I really mean that as a positive thing. Now, this is a small video game store in the middle of a small town right after the holidays. But all of that considered, decent selection, great prices, and a lot of fun things to look at. Ooh, hey there, The Punisher. This Quantum Fighter game just looked really cool, but on closer inspection, the label was a little messed up. They also had a cool selection of band t-shirts. I always love seeing those, especially if they fit me, because I am a big dude. Now, this is how I originally played Sonic Adventure Battle 2, so I've been meaning to pick it up for years, so I picked this up. They've got a decent selection of 3DS and DS games. I've been personally looking for partners in time for a while, though. I recently picked up a bunch of Shin Megami Tensei games. I'm not going to pick up this one, but it's cool to see. Jaguar CDs are super duper rare. It's crazy to me that I've seen 2 in such a short amount of time. I saw this one here, and then a couple of weeks ago when I was in Atlanta, I also saw a Jaguar CD. They are expensive, rare, and I don't even know if there's like hardcore collectors for these. And hey, check it out, a physical copy of Fortnite. These are actually kind of rare, especially because they have the original Save the World game on the disc. Night Trap as a game isn't that great, but it's an essential piece of video game history, especially when it comes to the ratings of video games. I always love finding a copy of Christmas Nights into Dreams. It's really only a demo disc with a couple of Christmas and New Year's levels on it, but it's still really cool. I'm a huge sucker for Game Gear stuff, but I'm gonna leave this here, even though it's only 20 bucks. Not bad for a case, especially if you're into it. NES is one of those consoles that I'm not really collecting for, but every time I see a game that I think just looks neat, I might pick it up. They also have a Super Nintendo just chilling, and you can play these games there if you want. I also like how they individually baggy all of their video games and some of their accessories that they kind of keep out. $143 might seem like a lot for Imaginators, but for some reason the Switch version of Imaginators is actually quite expensive. I always know what the price of handhelds should be, so I always love checking out handhelds in a video game store because that's a good indication about whether or not their prices are fair. If you're ever passing by this town, you should definitely stop by. I ended up picking up a couple of Sonic games, this one because I needed it, and this one because I couldn't believe I didn't own this already. This is actually how I played Sonic Adventure Battle 2 initially. I also got Skull Monkeys because I've been looking for this game forever. That means I only have 39 games until I have a complete N64 collection. Time to go to the Exchange. We're out here in Indiana at the Exchange, going in, seeing what we can get. Hopefully some video games, hopefully some N64. Who knows? Who knows? But we're out here in Indiana. Now, I've been to the Exchange many times, so I wouldn't count this towards my going to brand new video game stores counter. But I will say that this particular Exchange near the Castleton Mall is my favorite video game store in Indiana. If I could only go to one when I'm near my in-laws, I'd probably go this one every time. They've got a decent selection in competitive prices, but really what sets this apart, or really what sets any video game store apart for me, is the great customer service. Everybody here that works here is always super nice, and I always love chopping it up with them because they're always nice. You know, recently I've been collecting a lot of Switch games, not because I'm speculating or anything like that, but because I truly enjoy playing video games on this console. I am super excited for the Switch 2, especially because that means all of the video games that I have for the Switch, I can play on the Switch 2. It just means there's going to be a larger shelf life for the Switch 1 games, kind of like with the DS and the 3DS. Speaking of, I've always loved how ugly this cover is. The cover on the cover is amazing. Funny enough, I was looking for a complete version of Sonic Mania forever, and I couldn't find one for a good price. This one's just chilling there for 20 bucks. And hey, check it out, they've got a Kamen Rider game, Neat. I kind of wish there was an easy way for me to watch this entire series in English. Growing up, the Xenosaga games just seemed really cool. I never played any of them because I didn't have a PlayStation 2 at the time. But yeah, they still have kind of an allure. I wish they had a HD version of that game. I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to collect for the Evercade. It looks like a fun thing to not really just collect for, to actually play physical games on. And this is kind of neat, a video strategy guide to Street Fighter 2. It's actually kind of funny. The first time I was ever recognized in public as that guy that collects games was in this game exchange. So I think I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for this place. I'm not necessarily collecting for complete in-box N64 games, but I'm a big fan of wrestling games on the N64, so for less than 20 bucks I picked both of these up. That means we're only 36 games away from a complete US N64 set. As a part of a 2-for-1 deal, if you go to that game exchange, you can also go to this disc replay, which is very close to it. This disc replay is in the same parking lot as the Castleton Mall. It's a pretty cool place. Every time I'm here, I think about buying this game, mainly because it has music from Sum 41, but I end up leaving it here because that is a repro cover. That's a decently high price for a promo VHS, but this particular one for some reason actually goes for a higher rate. I'm out here looking for those N64 games, but unfortunately they don't have any of these stacks that I'm looking for. Hot take, but if this game had analog support, it would be the best version of Super Mario 64. It's so fun. I like Super Mario 64, but Super Mario 64 on DS is my goated version of this. My next console to collect all the video games for might be Xbox. It's just so much cheaper to do that than a Nintendo console, and there's so many really good games on this. I think it's neat that they sell just cases and stuff, but it just seems a little pricier than I want it to be. This game is highly rated. I haven't given it a try yet. I got it recently for the Switch. This part of the story usually has a bunch of really weird stuff in it, like strange controllers or accessories where they don't know where to put them. It's usually my favorite part of the store. Unfortunately, they just don't have a lot of stuff here right now, but I'll check back next time. They also had 2 Nintendo action sets, one without inserts, one with, but the one without inserts was in just such a better shape. I probably would have gotten that one. I wonder how the Dreamcast version of this game is. I only played the N64 Rush games. Every time I see Neo Geo Pocket games, I'm like, I should collect more Neo Geo Pocket. As a kid, I read mostly the manga of Sailor Moon, but I never really watched the show. Anyways, on to the next store. When I was at Half Price Books recently, they were having a 20% off sale. A lot of these games at this particular location were hitting around price charting, and if they were just price charting, they wouldn't be the best deals in the world. However, all the games that are slightly below price charting are super good deals, especially when you take into consideration they're 20% off of that. Right over here is an Aliens game made by the WayForward team. It's actually pretty good, so I'm gonna pick it up. And it also looks like they've got a complete copy of Fortnite here. Interesting. I've been passively going for a complete Nintendo Power set, and they had quite a few Nintendo Powers. They were a little overpriced, but when you take into consideration that everything in the store was 20% off, the prices ended up being okay-ish. Emphasis on the ish. I also ended up picking up quite a few games. Fortnite is arguably one of the most popular video games of all time, and I find it very interesting that you can get a physical copy of it, but it's kind of rare. And this game was made by WayForward, which is pretty cool, so I picked it up. When I get a chance to go to this Half Price Books in Indiana, I always go. I would totally pick up that Donkey Kong Country if it weren't sealed, because the box is so crispy. But they also have a good selection of other things here at this Half Price Books. I'm not currently looking for a copy of Crazy Taxi 2, but it's really neat to see one here, especially one that's so clean. This is one of the special edition Wii U games that I don't have currently. I think it might go down in price once it comes out for Switch though, but it's still neat to see. They've got a great selection of big box PC games. I've been looking for Doom 1 and Doom 2 complete in box for a while now, so I think I'm gonna pick up this Doom 2. I'm about to date myself, but I remember as a kid having a PC that wasn't powerful enough to run Doom 2. I was super young, but this game left a huge impression on me. I've been wanting to pick this game up forever, but at a slightly cheaper price. So with the 20% off, this ended up being okay priced. And I made like ABBA and took a chance on this one. I don't know anything about it, but I was like, why not? It's a new game. What you're about to get here is an Ohio bonus. This Half Price Books is located in Ohio. And yeah, I went here and checked out what they had. There was still a 20% sale going on here, so I almost picked up a whole bunch of these tapes. I always love looking through a Half Price Books, but I also know at the same time, about half the time I will not find anything I need. That being said, I feel like the point of going to a Half Price Books is hopefully find them slipping just a little bit. I'm not trying to get the biggest deal in the world, but I am just trying to save a little bit of money on a really good game. For a Half Price Books, this particular store ended up having a ton of stuff. Having recently got a PC Doom 2, I almost got this Leisure Suit Larry. But then I thought, you know what, I'm never gonna play this, and I'm not really like a Leisure Suit Larry guy. Regardless of whether or not a Half Price Books is a strange place for vintage video games to end up, I am grateful that they're here and not in a landfill. They had a ton of stuff in the store, but not everything that I really wanted to pick up. But that doesn't mean I didn't find something cool to get. This particular store I go to all the time, and with the 20% off, it ended up being pretty good deals. If you like this video, I got hundreds of videos like it on my channel. So by all means, check them out or subscribe if you'd like to. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.